Hey Rodney, so what I'm going ahead and do is rather than taking you pictures, I figured I'll do a straight video of the vehicle, and that would give you a better overview of the vehicle and give you a little more in-depth knowledge of any issues that the car has. So let's go ahead and start off. The first issue we got is, as you notice, the vehicle has these stickers. They're kind of faded out. These were my operating permits that were required to be put on the vehicle. You can get a professional buffer guy to take them off and wet sand and buff everything. There's also, if we can zoom in right here, there's a scratch on the bumper. 90% of this needs to be buffed out, and what I will probably do myself is I'll get it buffed out before I even take it down to Memphis. But it's there. It's not a major issue. There's no depth. It's just paint taken from a wall, but that will come off really easy. I would say 90% of it will come off of it. Let's look at the motor real quick. This is the motor. As I mentioned to you before, this was a corporate vehicle, so I used it a lot for business. It had about 160,000 miles when the motor took a nosedive. So we went ahead and replaced the motor. The motor, when I replaced it, had about 22,000 miles. I probably put about 30,000 miles into the motor. In doing so, the cluster of the vehicle also had to get replaced. So when I replaced the cluster, the dealership couldn't reprogram the mileage back to what the original chassis had, so they put it back to 0. And according to the odometer now, it has about 7,000 miles record on here. So that's that on that part. But that's the motor. Really clean. There's no issues with the motor. I mean, this thing runs phenomenal. I've been using it a lot for my personal use in the last couple months. But as we walk by, it's an option. These are stock rims. If you want to replace them with some nicer rims, that's kind of a choice for yourself. There's just a couple small little door dings, nothing major. You can't really notice it unless you look at the angle, but that's one little issue you might want to look at. Besides it needing right now I kind of should have had it detailed, but I kind of wasn't prepared for this, but I wanted to get this thing to you as soon as possible. So this is the back area. The only real major issue you're gonna have to address in this vehicle is the trunk. What happened is the struts here got damaged, so they need to be replaced. In theory, you push, there's a button on the handle, you push that and it opens up automatically. And then there's a button right here, you just push and it will close automatically. What was told to me is that you need to replace the struts on it. That's the only thing that I would recommend. You can, or you don't have to do it, but that's the only issue that you would have to deal with. Here's the other side of the vehicle. There's no issues, just basically dirty. Now let's focus on the interior of the vehicle. So we'll get a visual in there. So since this was used as a corporate vehicle, there's very minimal wear and tear. The upholstery and the interior is pretty much immaculate. I mean, there's no issues. It probably just needs a steam cleaning and a detail, but other than that, you do that and this thing's gonna look just like it did when I first bought it. I probably just had maybe about 2 customers a day, 2 customers on the vehicle. So usually the only kind of wear and tear you would have would be in these front captain's chairs. And as you can see, the only problem interior-wise is the handle right here that needs to be replaced. Or probably just needs to be bolted down and recapped. There's a missing cap on it, so that's the only issue that you're going to deal with. It's just loose, needs to be adjusted properly. Now we'll go in the front of the passenger side. So, if we get you zoomed in here, we got to replace the knobs here, the push buttons here. They've just been worn out from usage. So you would have to replace these 4 right here, which would look like this. This button is obviously worn out. This button's a little bit worn out, and then this button right here is starting to wear out. So those need to be replaced. Also, you need to replace the caps. You don't have to, but the cigarette lighter covers are missing. The vehicle wise, let's start this bad boy up. Starts like a champion. There's no issues with it. The car is phenomenal. That's the most important thing. So so the only, now you're gonna know